Hello viewers, welcome to AP's Ophthalmology Pulse. Today we shall discuss the age-wise correction of refractive errors. The goals for prescription of glasses in children is different from that of adults, where the best corrected visual acuity and relief of asthenopia are the only criteria. In children, management of refractive errors not only includes providing a clear retinal image, but also includes achieving optimal balance between accommodation and convergence and prevention of amblyopia. Babies are born with an average of about 2.5 diopters of hypermetropia. This reduces by about half by 1 year of age, and most children are emmetropic by 6 years. However, other refractive errors may also be present. For example, babies may be born myopic. A significant proportion of babies also have astigmatism. In many children with these errors, emmetropization still takes place. Hence, the prescription of glasses is generally undertaken when the refractive error is greater than the upper 95% limits of cycloplegic refractive error for a particular age, keeping in mind the following considerations. Whether the refractive error is within the normal range for the child's age, whether this level of refractive error will emmetropize or disrupt normal visual development, whether spectacles will improve visual function, and whether spectacles interfere with the normal process of emmetropization. With these considerations, the American Academy of Ophthalmology has developed the preferred practice patterns for prescription of glasses in infants and young children for both isometropia, that is equal refraction in both eyes, and anisometropia. The values for anisometropia are lower as it is more amblyogenic than isometropia. These are not absolute values but just guidelines, and discretion should be used in individual cases. Note here that with increasing age, the threshold for prescribing glasses is lower in all types of refractive errors. This means that infants can tolerate higher levels of ametropia without complications. The lower the threshold, the greater the chances of developing amblyopia and or strabismus with lower levels of error. Also note that decreasing threshold for prescribing glasses in the various errors. The lower the threshold, the greater the chances of developing amblyopia and or strabismus with lower levels of error. So, hypermetropia with esotropia has the highest association with amblyopia, and so glasses are prescribed at much lower levels of ametropia compared to the others. Note a trend for the same refractive errors in anisometropia. Hypermetropic and astigmatic anisometropia are more amblyogenic than myopic anisometropia and hence require correction with lower levels of refractive error. The minimum difference in refractive error between the two eyes for spectacle correction in anisometropia without strabismus is given here. With strabismus, glasses would need to be prescribed at lower levels of anisometropia. The values mentioned are those that are obtained by cycloplegic refraction. By about 3 to 5 years, where the child starts requiring distant vision acuity, low myopes may also require treatment. Myopia of sufficient degree to prevent the child from seeing what is written on the blackboard should be corrected before the child starts formal schooling. Myopia should also be corrected in the presence of exophoria or exotropia in order to stimulate accommodation and convergence. The full cycloplegic correction without overcorrecting the myopia should be prescribed. Overcorrection causes the patient to accommodate, often leading to asthenopia. In older children, overcorrection can be avoided by performing the duochrome test. If there is esophoria at near or an accommodative insufficiency, persons with low myopia and insignificant astigmatism can remove their glasses for reading. Or, if the refractive error is significant, a plus lens reading addition may be provided. If there is exophoria or exotropia, full-time wear of the full myopic correction should be prescribed. Astigmatism needs correction if the visual acuity is reduced in the affected eye. Astigmatism of 1 diopter or more, which is sufficient to impair the visual acuity, should be corrected. The full cycloplegic correction should be prescribed. In a school-age child, Full hyperopic correction may cause distant vision to be blurred because having used accommodation for distant vision for so long is now unable to relax completely. For the child without esotropia, a slight reduction in the quantity of correction of about say 0.75 diopters may facilitate the acceptance of the glasses by allowing some accommodation to occur. Alternately, cycloplegic agents may be used to encourage acceptance of the prescribed treatment. Cycloplegic refraction should be performed in all children. 1% cyclopentolate is a good cycloplegic for children above 6 months of age. Atropine may be required for infants, children with esotropia or myopia greater than 10 diopters if cyclopentolate does not produce adequate cycloplegia. In adults over the age of 18 years, the prescription of glasses is guided by symptoms, keeping the following guidelines in mind. Always prescribe the maximum plus or the minimum minus that is compatible with clear vision. During subsequent visits, minor changes in refraction that do not produce significant visual improvement don't need a change of glass. Since amblyopia is not a concern, small refractive errors do not need correction if the person is not willing to wear glasses. People generally do not tolerate significant changes in the cylinder, especially the axis. However, if you are in doubt, the patient may be made to wear the correction in the trial frame and made to walk around a bit to make sure that such a correction is really required. And generally, when prescribing glasses for the first time in persons over the age of 50 years, a cylinder is best avoided, even if the vision with sphere alone is blurred, as these people do not tolerate cylinders well. Alternately, the cylinder can be reduced, keeping the spherical equivalent constant and increased later after a period of adaptation. So, that's it for today. If you like what you saw, subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon to never miss an update from AP's Ophthalmology Pulse. You may watch my other videos by clicking on the thumbnails. Please leave a note in the comment section if you wish for a particular topic to be covered in future. Look forward to regular updates. Thank you for watching.